Success can feel like an elusive destination, a point we hope to reach, but often doubt we're approaching. The journey can be uncertain, full of late nights, sacrifices, and moments where progress seems invisible. But what if the signs that you're closer to success are already there, quietly surrounding you, waiting to be recognized? Most people overlook these signals, mistaking them for mere noise or routine aspects of life. Yet if you pause and observe closely, you'll see that they reveal more than just day-to-day persistence. They show progress, depth, and momentum. Recognizing these signs can shift how you view your journey and fuel the final push toward your goals. These signs are subtle, but they're significant. They reflect resilience, growth, alignment, and the subtle ways life responds when you're inching ever nearer to your breakthrough. The first sign that you're closer to success than you think is resilience. Resilience is not just enduring a setback. It's the muscle you build every time you rise after being knocked down. It's easy to underestimate this trait, seeing it as just a reaction to failure or disappointment. However, resilience is a cornerstone of lasting success. Think about it. Every successful person you know of has faced setbacks, often monumental ones. What set them apart wasn't avoiding these challenges, but confronting them and persisting regardless of them. Each time you get up after being pushed down, you're teaching yourself an invaluable lesson, one that cannot be learned in books or seminars, but only through living. I remember the early days when life seemed more inclined to test than reward me. I wanted things to happen quickly, as most do, but each setback forced me to look deeper, work harder, and refine my approach. Those years taught me that resilience isn't just surviving difficulties. It's finding a way to thrive because of them. When you face challenges and yet maintain your momentum, you're proving to yourself that you're prepared for the weight of success. Success isn't for those who crumble at the first sign of trouble. It's for those who can pick themselves up and move forward, even when it would be easier to stay down. Resilience manifests in different ways. It might be the way you respond to criticism, taking feedback as fuel for growth instead of letting it deflate you. It could be your willingness to step back, reassess, and adjust your strategy without losing your commitment. Sometimes resilience is seen in how you deal with the everyday grind, showing up when no one is watching, when there's no immediate reward. When you continue to give your best in those moments, you're not just preparing for success, you're living in its prelude. That's the real test. Can you hold on to your vision when the world gives you every reason to let it go? A resilient spirit builds layers of fortitude over time. It's like laying down bricks for a house you'll live in later. Each moment of perseverance adds to that structure, even if the progress isn't immediately visible. The key here is understanding that resilience compounds. It's a trait that builds on itself, making you stronger with each test. If you've been through a few storms and can still find the energy to navigate forward, you're exhibiting one of the most powerful signs that success is within reach. It may not always feel triumphant when you're in the thick of it, but rest assured that inner strength you're cultivating is an undeniable indicator that you're moving toward your goals. There's a misconception that resilience is only about bouncing back to where you were. The truth is, it's about moving beyond your previous position. It's about learning enough from that setback to not only regain your ground, but also propel yourself forward with newfound wisdom. A setback can become a setup for something greater if approached with the right mindset. So if you find yourself coming out of struggles not just unbroken, but stronger, more determined, and more knowledgeable, that's a sign that success is closer than it appears. Resilience refines you, molds you into the kind of person who won't just achieve success, but sustain it once it arrives. Next, the second sign that you're closer to success than you think is noticing small wins. It's easy to overlook these as minor or inconsequential, especially when you're focused on larger goals that seem so far out of reach. Yet those small wins are crucial. They're not just indicators of progress, but proof that the seeds you've been planting are starting to sprout. Success doesn't burst forth fully formed. It's the culmination of many tiny victories strung together. If you start recognizing these moments, it's a signal that you're building towards something substantial, even if it's not yet visible in full. Imagine the early stages of building a business or pursuing a personal goal. You might spend months, even years, feeling like you're pushing a boulder uphill without any sign of it budging. Then one day, something shifts. A client says yes, a project gets completed ahead of schedule, or a mentor gives you unsolicited praise. It's tempting to brush these moments aside, thinking they're too small to celebrate. But make no mistake, those little milestones are the foundation on which bigger achievements rest. They remind you that the process is working, that you're developing momentum. It's like climbing a mountain and finding a flatter ledge where you can catch your breath. You may not be at the summit, but you're undeniably higher than you were before. When I first started in public speaking, I would measure success only in terms of packed auditoriums and standing ovations. But the truth is, those grand moments were few and far between at the beginning. What kept me going were the smaller wins. Each of these moments was like a match struck in the dark, brief but illuminating. When I look back years later, I realized that those were the exact points that strung together to create my breakthrough. Small wins are also a sign that you're starting to embody the habits and mindset needed for larger success. Every small victory comes from a series of actions, decisions, and attitudes that align with your goals. If you're consistently seeing progress, no matter how minor, it's evidence that you're training yourself to succeed. Small wins also build confidence. It's like filling a reservoir one drop at a time. Eventually, it becomes deep enough to sustain you during dry spells. Confidence isn't built in one leap. It's accumulated through many little moments where you pushed, persevered, and came out with a result, however modest. The importance of acknowledging these moments can't be overstated. They're not only motivational, but serve as practical feedback. Each win, no matter how small, is telling you something. This approach works. This skill is growing. This effort is yielding out. It's like having a conversation with your future self, where each small success whispers, keep going. You're on the right path. If you've begun to see this pattern of small but consistent wins, it's one of the clearest signs that success is not a distant dream, but an emerging reality. So take a moment and reflect. Have there been recent days where you accomplished something that made you feel a little closer to your goal? Did you meet someone who offered insight or support that shifted your perspective? If so, don't dismiss these as luck or coincidence. They're part of the unfolding tapestry of your success. Recognizing them, savoring them, even writing them down gives you the encouragement needed to keep pushing forward. These small wins are not just breadcrumbs. They are road signs, pointing you closer and closer to your destination. Next, the third sign that you're closer to success than you think is when your goals and values start aligning. This alignment is a subtle but powerful indicator that you're on the right path. At the start of any journey, it's common to chase success, defined by external metrics, titles, money, recognition. But as you move forward and grow, something shifts. You begin to see that real success feels different. It's not just about achieving goals. It's about achieving the right goals, the ones that resonate deeply with who you are and what you stand for. When your daily actions start to reflect your true values, you're no longer just working towards success. You're living in alignment with it. There comes a point where you realize that the hustle and hard work are not sustainable unless they're connected to something meaningful. Early on, you might take on any project or job that comes your way just to build momentum or gain experience. But as you mature in your journey, you notice that some projects fill you with energy, while others drain you. This isn't by accident. It's your internal compass guiding you. When you start aligning what you do with what you believe in, your work stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like an expression of your true self. If you found yourself saying, "This feels right," or "This is what I was meant to do," it's a powerful sign that success is closer than you think. I remember when I first discovered this in my own life. At the beginning of my career, I was chasing numbers, sales numbers, audience numbers, and even the number of engagements on my calendar. It wasn't until I began focusing on what truly mattered to me, teaching others, sharing ideas that transformed lives, that my work shifted from being a job to being a calling. Suddenly, the hours I spent preparing for seminars or writing were not just tasks. They were part of a mission that aligned with my core values. That's when I felt that success wasn't just out there, waiting to be achieved. It was already becoming part of my everyday life. This alignment between goals and values also brings with it a new type of motivation. It's no longer about pushing yourself to work harder because you have to. It becomes about working harder because you want to, because it feels like every step is taking you closer to not just any finish line, but the right finish line. When you notice that you're not having to convince yourself to stay committed, that you're naturally drawn to your work, that's when you know you're walking the path of true success. It's a shift from chasing to embodying. When your efforts align with your values, challenges don't disappear, but they do feel different. The sacrifices you make don't weigh as heavily because you're not sacrificing for something superficial. You're doing it for something meaningful. Late nights and early mornings carry less resentment and more anticipation. The road doesn't feel as long when every mile brings you closer to a destination that fits you perfectly. If you find yourself feeling energized despite the obstacles, that's not a fluke. It's a sign that you're already experiencing the essence of success. Some people spend their whole lives chasing goals that, when reached, feel hollow. They climb ladders only to realize they're leaning against the wrong wall. But if you're starting to experience the satisfaction of doing work that feels right to your core, you're miles ahead. This alignment is rare and precious. It means you're not just moving forward, you're moving in a way that's sustainable, fulfilling, and true to who you are. You're not just achieving success, you're redefining it to match your deepest aspirations. Reflect for a moment. Have you noticed your days feeling more purposeful? Do your decisions feel more natural and less forced? Are you choosing paths not because they're easy or lucrative, but because they resonate with your values? If so, that's your inner compass, confirming that you're on track. When you follow that, success stops being a finish line and becomes part of your journey. You're no longer just striving for an external prize. You're living in harmony with your ambitions, and that's one of the clearest signs that success is already taking shape. Next, the fourth sign that you're closer to success than you think is when you start attracting the right people into your life. Success isn't a solo endeavor. It thrives on connections, partnerships, and relationships that inspire and elevate you. If you've noticed that you're increasingly surrounded by individuals who support, challenge, and believe in your vision, that's a powerful indicator that you're on the path to success. The right people bring opportunities, insights, and encouragement that can propel you forward faster than you could manage on your own. Early in your journey, it's common to feel isolated. You're trying to push a dream into reality, and often the people around you may not fully understand or share your vision. But as you persist, something begins to shift. You'll start noticing that the more you commit to your path, the more like-minded people seem to cross your path. These connections don't just happen by accident. They're a sign that you're vibrating at a level that attracts those who are on the same wavelength. I've seen this time and time again, both in my own career and in the lives of those I've mentored. When I was starting out, I worked hard, but often felt alone in my struggles. As I continued to grow and refine my goals, I began meeting people who were key to my development. They shared ideas, offered guidance, and sometimes provided a reality check that kept me from veering off course. These relationships weren't just lucky breaks. They were the natural result of my commitment to growth. Success isn't just about what you know or do. It's about who joins you along the way and how those relationships amplify your efforts. One of the most telling signs that you're drawing closer to success is when these people begin to seek you out. You find that your work or reputation starts preceding you, and individuals you respect want to collaborate, seek your advice, or offer their help. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but it's significant when it does. The quality of your network changes, and so does your access to opportunities. These relationships are not just enjoyable, they're strategic advantages that enrich your journey. This isn't just about professional contacts or formal mentorships. Sometimes the right people are friends who uplift you when the days are tough, or family members who offer unwavering support. These connections create an ecosystem of energy and support that makes the journey not only easier, but more fulfilling. If you're finding that more of your conversations are filled with ideas, encouragement, and constructive feedback, take note, this isn't a coincidence. It's the universe's way of telling you that you're aligned with your path. If you're wondering why this happens, it's simple. Your commitment to your goals becomes a magnet for others who share your vision. Success is contagious, and like attracts like. The more you work on yourself and push toward your ambitions, the more you emit a kind of energy that draws others who are on a similar journey. The result is a network that not only supports your dreams, but pushes you to dream bigger. If you've started building relationships with people who fuel your passion and guide your growth, that's an unmistakable sign that success is not just around the corner. It's already weaving its way into your life. Reflect on this. Have you recently met someone who offered guidance that shifted your perspective? Have you found yourself being introduced to individuals who have the resources or knowledge you need? Are people recommending you for opportunities or seeking your input? If so, take it as a signal that your momentum is building. And the right people rarely arrive when you're just beginning to explore an idea. They show up when you're on your way, already putting in the work, and the world begins to respond to your efforts. Success, after all, isn't just an individual endeavor. It's built through the connections you nurture. And when those connections start aligning, you're more successful than you realize. Next, the fifth sign that you're closer to success than you think is when you start to see a clear pattern of growth in yourself. Personal growth is one of the strongest indicators that you're on the right track, because success isn't just about what you accomplish. It's about who you become in the process. When you look back and notice that you're no longer the person you were when you started, you've made significant progress. If you've developed new skills, learned from past mistakes, or adopted better habits, you're already succeeding, regardless of the tangible rewards. Growth often happens gradually, so it can be easy to overlook, especially when you're focused on the external goals you've set for yourself. But true success requires transformation. If you're experiencing a shift in your thinking, your behavior, and your approach to challenges, then you're developing the character and mindset necessary for sustaining success. Personal growth means you're building the qualities that will support your goals. Qualities like discipline, patience, adaptability, and humility. Success is not just about arriving at a destination. It's about evolving in a way that makes that destination possible and sustainable. I remember a time when I was so focused on results that I overlooked the growth I was undergoing. I would get frustrated if a project didn't yield immediate success, or if a new skill took longer than expected to master. But as I reflected, I saw that I was learning patience, resilience, and focus. Over time, I became more skilled, more disciplined, and better equipped to handle the demands of my goals. This growth didn't show up in my bank account or in the number of people at my seminars right away, but it was laying the foundation for the success I would later achieve. The personal development was the success happening behind the scenes. Growth also shows up in how you handle setbacks. Early on, challenges might feel like roadblocks, and failure can feel like a dead end. But as you grow, you start to see setbacks as stepping stones and failures as opportunities to improve. If you've started approaching obstacles with curiosity and a problem-solving mindset instead of frustration, that's a sign of deep internal progress. It's a signal that you're building the mental strength and flexibility needed to reach higher levels of success. The path becomes less about avoiding difficulties and more about using them as fuel for further growth. A clear pattern of growth also changes the way you set and pursue goals. You move from being overly focused on immediate gratification to understanding the value of long-term effort. You begin to appreciate the process itself, knowing that each day's work, each bit of progress, contributes to your larger vision. When you start focusing less on quick wins and more on sustainable, gradual improvement, you're operating at a higher level. This shift in mindset is itself a form of success. It's the evolution from wanting results now to valuing progress over time. Success favors those who learn to pace themselves, to improve daily, and to enjoy the journey as much as the destination. If you find yourself growing more patient, more resilient, or more committed than you were even a few months ago, it's proof that you're not just waiting for success, you're preparing for it. Real success requires a strong foundation, and each bit of growth is a brick in that foundation. Reflect for a moment. Are you making decisions today that you wouldn't have been capable of a year ago? Are you handling stress with more calm, setbacks with more resolve, and successes with more humility? If so, you're closer to your goals than you realize, because you're becoming the kind of person who can handle success when it arrives. Think about your journey and how you've changed along the way. Are you more disciplined, more focused, or more willing to put in the hard work without immediate reward? If you've noticed these shifts in yourself, that's growth. And growth is the ultimate success signal because it's something no one can take from you. Achievements can come and go, but the person you become on this path is yours to keep. Success is a reflection of what you've accomplished internally. And if you're experiencing real growth, you're already living out one of the most meaningful forms of success. Next, the sixth sign that you're closer to success than you think is when you feel an undeniable sense of purpose driving your actions. Purpose isn't something you can fabricate or force. It's a natural energy that pulls you forward even when challenges arise. It's the feeling that keeps you working on your goals long after the excitement has faded. The why that helps you endure setbacks and push beyond obstacles. Purpose is what turns effort into fulfillment. And when you're working with purpose, success is no longer just a goal. It's an inevitable outcome. When you begin to experience this clarity of purpose, it changes everything. You're no longer just chasing random opportunities or hoping for lucky breaks. Instead, your actions become aligned with a clear mission, and you make decisions based on what will bring you closer to that mission. Purpose gives you focus, resilience, and clarity. It creates a guiding light that shines through the difficult times, reminding you of why you started and where you're going. When you reach this level of purpose-driven action, you're no longer just on the path to success. You're embodying it. I've seen this in my own life and in the lives of countless others who have reached their own breakthroughs. There was a time when my work was motivated by financial security and personal achievement. But over time, as I reflected on what truly mattered to me, I found a deeper reason for my efforts: to help others grow, to inspire positive change, to leave a legacy of wisdom. Once I connected with that purpose, my work took on a new level of energy and meaning. It wasn't about working harder anymore. It was about working with intention. The days were still long, but they were fulfilling. The challenges were still there, but they were now part of a larger story that I believed in with my whole heart. Purpose-driven action is the most powerful fuel you can have. It gives you endurance in a way that external motivation simply can't. External rewards, money, recognition, applause, can be gratifying, but they don't last. Purpose, on the other hand, keeps you moving forward even when no one is watching. It gives you the courage to keep showing up even on days when progress feels invisible. When you feel this sense of purpose, you're no longer questioning whether your efforts are worth it. You know they are, because every action is a step toward fulfilling your larger vision. Purpose also has a magnetic quality. When you're clear about why you're doing what you're doing, you start attracting opportunities, resources, and people that align with your mission. Your purpose becomes like a beacon, drawing the right elements into your life. This alignment isn't just a coincidence. It's a direct result of you operating from a place of authentic intention. You're no longer reacting to life's circumstances. You're creating your own path, one step at a time, with purpose as your guide. If you've experienced moments where things seem to fall into place, where unexpected doors open and the right people appear, that's often a sign that you're living in alignment with your purpose. Think about your own life. Do you feel a deep, unshakable reason behind your goals? Are there days when, despite the challenges, you feel a strong pull to keep going, simply because you believe in what you're doing? If so, that's purpose at work. And it's one of the clearest signs that success is closer than it seems. Purpose is what gives success its depth, its meaning, and its lasting impact. When you're moving with purpose, you're already experiencing a form of success that goes beyond any external measure. It's the success of knowing that your life, your work, your effort, all of it has meaning. Having a strong sense of purpose doesn't mean every day will be easy, but it does mean that every day will be worthwhile. If you've discovered this drive within yourself, you're already living with a level of success that many search for their entire lives. Purpose is the foundation of fulfillment. And when you're grounded in it, success becomes not just a goal, but a way of life. It's the final sign that you're closer to your breakthrough than you think, because purpose-driven people don't stop. They keep moving forward, knowing that their journey has a significance that transcends individual achievements. These 6 signs are powerful indicators, not just of the progress you've made, but of the person you're becoming along the way. Each sign reveals that you're closer to success than you may have realized. Success is a journey, and these signs show that the path you're on is leading somewhere meaningful. They're evidence that your efforts are building momentum, that the lessons you've learned are shaping your character, and that your commitment is setting you apart. It's easy to feel discouraged when you don't see immediate results, but remember that success is rarely a sudden arrival. It's the slow, steady accumulation of moments, choices, and efforts, all working together to shape your future. If you recognize even a few of these signs in your life, then you're on the right track. Keep going. The small wins, the setbacks that test your resilience, the moments of alignment and purpose, these are all part of the journey, and they're all indicators that your hard work is bringing you closer to the life you envision. Celebrate each sign, however small, and know that each one is a step closer to your breakthrough. Success is within reach, and if you stay committed, you'll soon find that all these signs have led you exactly where you were meant to be.